Hello, my friends, and welcome to Tabletop Tavern. Hope you're all doing well. This is a new game that just came out, and I'll be honest, it struck my weak points for massive damage. This game is, perfectly designed for me. It's a roguelike RTS, which is a genre combination that I've been saying for ages we should see more of, because I think they mesh very well together. And it's played on kind of a Slay the Spire style roguelike progression map with Warhammer Total War style combat. Both games that I love. This is a fairly arcadey style RTS, so we're just going to jump right into a run here. I've done one run since the game launched, and I played the beta a fair bit because this game had a long demo period. As you can see, when we jump into the game, we get to choose between the many different factions that we have access to. I've already played the Iron Legion faction, which, if you're familiar with Warhammer, are kind of like the Empire. They're humans with a good mix of stalwart infantry, gunpowder units, and powerful elite cavalry. So, a very fun faction there. The Gruntkin are kind of the orcs and goblins. The Raven host are Viking-inspired. We've got the elves and the undead. There's also the Sakura dynasty, who are kind of a Japan-inspired faction. The dwarves of the Deepstone Hold, who I imagine focus really heavily on gunpowder. And the Dracosaur brood, who have kobold units and then these monstrous infantry. I'm going to try the dwarves. I really enjoy playing dwarves in Warhammer Total War, so we're going to give that a go here. We get a campaign bonus based on our faction, so we get an optional post-battle choice, receive a common gear item, and when our units start dying, all of our other units get stronger. We're playing the hero, Hrothgar Goblin Slayer. As you can see, there's multiple heroes available per faction, who has the unique unit, the Abyssal Delve Knights, so looking forward to getting those guys. All units gain plus 10 melee attack and plus 4 weapon strength when fighting the Gruntkin. So if we can fight the orcs and goblins, I like the little wave there. If we can fight the orcs and goblins, then we'll be doing very well. And our Crag Flayers, who I guess are slayers, they have throwing axes and they gain the Rage ability. I'm not sure what that does exactly, but we should be able to see it when we enter the game. We can select some starting gear. No, I can't. I need to upgrade that as a permanent upgrade, and modify starting army also seems to be a permanent upgrade. I've boosted the difficulty to level 2, which means that we won't get to preview auto-resolves, and all shop prices are increased by 2. But other than that, let's just get right into the run. This game is... What I really like about it is, if you are looking for a very lightweight RTS, especially if you're new to the genre and want to learn how to play RTSs, this just lets you get right into the action and play in a familiar format if you've played a lot of roguelikes as well. Go ahead and go to our opening tile here, and you can see this is very Slay the Spire-like with the different nodes. So I could go with doubles gold when sold, the ornate ring, so we could get extra gold when we sell our ring, up to 20, so this is basically 20 gold if I wait a little bit. Double troop health recovery, or melee units gain plus 6 melee attack. Our melee units have, plus 6 is like a 6th or a 7th of their melee attack, roughly, so it's a pretty big increase. And you can see there's a lot of stats on these units. I'll get a little more into that as we go, though they've more or less copied the combat system from Warhammer Total War. But I'm going to go with the extra melee attack. We have 3 melee units here, so that should be pretty good. We now have our choice of tiles that we can go to. So these are all going to be battles. This one's fought in the rain, which reduces the combat effectiveness of large units, and it's fought over a river. We could also fight in the swamp and fog, which is pretty good for us because we have no ranged units, so that would penalize enemy ranged units. And this is also swamp and fog, and then we're going to take a second fight here. We can go to a village of the Gruntkin, and we can actually attack villages, so I think that's going to be the plan, is we're going to attack that Gruntkin village, since our guy gets bonuses against them. So let's go to the left. Alright, we're up against some undead, some spears, and various infantry. I could auto-resolve the fight, and we would win it, but we don't know how many troops we would lose. Let's go ahead and fight here. It's taking a moment to load here. So at the start of the fight, you roll for initiative, and if you win the initiative roll, you get to deploy second. If you don't, you have to deploy your troops first, and your opponent gets to respond to your deployment. So I'm going to go ahead... Oh, we do have ranged units. These are ranged, the Crag Flayers. Okay. I was thinking of those as not being ranged. So these are Outrider ranged units. They're in a swamp, so they lose their speed bonus. I'm going to go with a kind of refused flank deployment over here. I also, I should mention, I did just injure my hand, so I'm going to be taking it a little bit easy on the micro. You can, if you are not wanting to do a lot of micromanagement, you can actually play in extreme slow mode. You can also pause in order to issue orders, or you can speed up combat. These enemies are shielded, so our throwing axes will be less effective against them. And to get these guys around the back so we can kind of pile in on all the enemy infantry, and then these guys are just going to do some combat here. I want to throw my axes at these enemies because they are not shielded, and shielded units take less damage from ranged weapons. So our ranged attacks are going to be more impactful here. We can also zoom in and do sort of cinematic fights. It's very cartoony, but I like the way that it looks. Alright, so these guys have used all their ammo, so we're going to, again, work them around the flank here. Casualties that you take in combat are persistent, so you do need to be a little careful about your combat management of your troops. These guys have taken a little damage, but they haven't lost any actual units yet. But I am going to start backing them out a little bit and let our other Rift Pick Laborer unit start tanking some of the damage here. We've broken the morale of those two enemies, and then we can have these guys charge back in. They're losing the combat, and this should be a pretty clean first fight. Hopefully we don't lose a single unit. If I lose one or two, then no big deal. But it looks like we managed to get out of that with no casualties. The first combat, of course, is always going to be very small, and then it'll get bigger as you progress through the campaign. So, having defeated the enemy host, we get to claim our rewards here. So firstly, we get 3 gold, and then we also get to recruit a unit. So we can choose one of 3 units from our faction to add to our group. We could take the Rift Pick Laborers, and if you get 3 of the same unit, you get to prestige them into a more powerful version, but I actually just want more stuff on the field right now. I'm going to go with a second ranged unit. I've found ranged units in my runs to be very powerful in this game, so we're going to take the Crackshot Crossbows here. Then, I have a choice. I can loot the battlefield and get +8 for melee attack and melee defense on my common units. Now, I have an army with mostly common units, so this would be a pretty good relic to get. We could get an enemy, and you can conscript one of the enemies that you fought against. So we could get one of the Undead Levies or Boneclatter Spears. Now, we saw that those guys were fairly weak. We could also just take 3 gold, and that's what I'm going to do, because this game has an interest system. You get extra money per 5 gold that you're currently holding, so we want to get to 25 as quickly as possible. Then we're going to go ahead and jump to the next tile. I also, of course, as I've mentioned, I've played 1 run so far, so take the strategy advice that I'm giving with a grain of salt. We're up against the undead again. I would really rather be fighting the orcs, the Gruntkin. But they just have some Gravestone Imp who have the Chicken Flight ability. And we're fighting them in the rain. Tip, you don't have to do the dishes right now if you tell yourself they need to soak. Oh no. That tip coming right for me. And unfortunately, the enemy won deployment again. So I'm going to go these guys in group 3, these guys in group 2, these guys in group 1. And you can see that there's a river crossing here that we're going to be defending because we have ranged units. So we want to defend the river crossing. I want to be shooting the non-shielded enemies. And we'll have these guys kind of block the river crossing. You can start shooting as well. Ranged units in this game do not have friendly fire, but artillery does. So if you add artillery to your setup, you need to start being really careful. So my goal here is just to wear down these enemies basically with our ranged attacks, and then we'll again get a flanking charge on the other enemies here. So these guys are going to shoot the non-shielded ones, and these guys are going to move up and around. And we'll kind of position them over here where they can charge in. So far, again, haven't lost a unit, and our Riftpick Laborers, they're heavily armored, the Dwarven unit, so they're doing very well. Oh yeah, what does the Rage ability do? Can I see that? Rage does extra damage when they're below half health. Well, we don't really want to let them get to that point. I'm going to back these guys off before they take a casualty, and we'll just rotate which of our units are tanking. Just do some classic Dragoon micro here. These early fights are just an exercise in making sure you take no damage, and then in the later fights, you're going to have enemy artillery and ranged units that make that extremely difficult. Alright, so again, we get to pick our rewards here. We'll take $3, and we will recruit a unit. I could get another crossbow unit, another Riftpick Laborer unit. Let's just get another crossbow unit. And just get some ranged firepower online. And then I want this ballistic charts? Ranged units gain 20 accuracy. That's interesting as well. But I think, again, we're just going to take the money because I want to get to the point of hitting our 5 interest per turn. Alright, now we're going to go to this Gruntkin village. And when you go to a village, you can either enter the town, which heals your troops and lets you recruit units of that race. So you can recruit non-faction units either by beating them in combat or by going to a village. Or you can fight their garrison, and then you get to loot gear, you get to loot gold, and get the normal rewards for a combat. So we're going to go ahead and attack the garrison here. The garrison is very small and weak, but it will be behind its walls. So the enemy has these towers. The gate towers will fire attacks at us. So what we're going to do basically is we're just going to group all of our units in the corner where only one of the enemy towers can attack them. Our ranged units can't shoot over the walls. The enemies, I think, are just assumed to be hiding behind them. But these battles, we can focus on killing the gate so that we're not taking damage from it. And we are going to lose some units. You always lose some units in the city fights. But once we break through the gate, we should be okay. And then we'll just have all of our units attack the goblins here. Now that we've broken through, the other enemies are going to start coming around, the goblin scrap shooters. And we've lost 7 units on this Riftpick Laborer squad and 5 on this one. So not bad casualties, though we may take a few more. Basically just kind of blobbing my units up here. As long as I don't stray into the range of another gate, we should be okay. But I don't want to let these guys fire their shots. Oh, right, this is also a fog map, so all our ranged units are doing a little bit worse. Took 2 more casualties here when we were fighting those scrap shooters, so I'm going to back this unit off, and then have our other two units go after them. And these scrap shooters, for some reason, they're charging into melee. I'm not really sure why they're doing that, but we should be able to just overwhelm them because we have a much superior force and bonuses against the Gruntkin. So far, so good. And having defeated the town garrison, we get to get a bunch of stuff. So we can loot the gold, we can loot gear here. And let's see what we got. We have... guarantees a consumable drop from battles. Sure, I'll take that. We get to conscript survivors now, so I can recruit a Gruntkin unit here. And I will take some dire wolves. This gives us a kind of cavalry option, which is great. And then we can also deposit gold, so you can take gold that you earn during the campaign and move it into the meta progression. Which honestly isn't my favorite way of doing meta progression in these games. I feel like it creates kind of a false choice. But we're gonna not do that, of course, because we want to boost our interest as well. And then it's on to another fight. We don't have a choice of where we're going. More undead. We're just fighting only undead right now, but you can see they do now have some uncommon units, so this is going to be a tougher fight. We would still win with the auto-resolve, but this is going to be a little more difficult. That said, I'm going to be doing all the fights. Both because we'll take less casualties that way unless I really mess something up, and because... Wait. Get those guys in Group 1, these guys in Group 2, and our direwolves in Group 3. Oh, for some reason it's not letting me hotkey the direwolves until... This is a weird bug where it doesn't let you hotkey your units until you've entered the deployment phase.
As you wish.
So, our Crag Flayers, these guys have Outrider, Throwing Axes, and Rage. And Throwing Axes are short-range, high-damage attacks. So we're going to have them attack the Mist Wraiths, the Night Riders, and... and then I'm going to circle around to flank with my direwolves, which I can't deploy as an Outrider unit, but we can get them on the back of the enemy here.
As you say. Absolutely.
+5 accuracy for player units in the Watchtower. Let's go ahead and have them attack these Mist Wraiths, and you can attack the Mist Wraiths as well. The enemy Feral Hounds are kind of coming after our direwolves. Back these up to where they can get ranged unit support. Because I just want to obliterate the Mist Wraiths as quickly as possible. And then you're going to hit those guys, and we'll have all of these guys take out the enemy mobility. Again, with some flanking. One of my ranged units has exhausted its ammo. Let's have you shoot the Night Riders. I did maybe mess up my movement a little bit here, where the enemy cavalry might be able to get on my archers. So I'm going to have my infantry go over here. And our direwolves are not doing great in terms of damage. Okay, looks like the cavalry are just trying to take this watchtower. I don't know if they can actually capture that terrain. I'm not entirely sure how the terrain effects work. I'm moving the direwolves around to where we can get a rear charge on these guys. And then we've got our Crag Flayers combating the Night Riders. These guys are pretty good in melee, even though they're also a ranged unit with their throwing axes. But you can see we took a few more casualties in this battle here. Alright, nice, we got them. Let's go ahead and claim our rewards, and we'll take our money. And now I get to start conscripting survivors, if I want to. Although I might take the turkey, giving all my ranged units anti-large. I had this in my first run, and it was a ridiculously powerful relic, where we just obliterate enemy dragons and stuff, because this doubles the damage that we do to large enemies. Take the minor health potion, so I can heal a unit if I need to. We'll recruit a unit here. And I'm going to get another Rift Pick Laborer unit, We'll later be able to prestige those into a higher tier one, but I also just need a little more infantry in my army, I think. And then I am going to take the turkey here. Giving my ranged units anti-large just feels really strong. All right, so I can go to a shop and maybe buy stuff. I can also go to a question mark node. Let's do the question mark node. Let's live a little.
Let's talk about gold.
All right, it was a shop anyways. So I could spend 12 on a unit pack. I could spend 11 on some gear. I could spend 25 on a random unit. If we had a bunch of money, we could buy more expensive legendary, rare, or uncommon units. I think I'm just saving my money here. I don't really need any of this stuff.
Goodbye.
So kind of a bad roll there, but our other option was a shop as well. Let's look at these towns. There's a Sanguine Court town and a Tilindor Forest town. I probably want to attack whatever town I go to. There's also 2 Gruntkin cities, which we could attack as well. Though the cities are pretty dangerous fights. So let's go... Do I want the forest or just want to fight the elves? Just get a skirmish. Fight the vampires. Let's just go up the middle here. We'll fight in the forest, and then we'll kind of figure it out next. It really seems like we've just got all vampires against us in this combat, in this map. I don't know if the maps are, like, themed based on what enemy you're going to fight, and if all skirmishes are against one faction in a given map or something like that. That's very possible. So this enemy has some archers, and then they've got the Death Haven Fiends. These are uncommon melee infantry, and then they have Feral Hounds, which are large cavalry. So our archer units should be able to kind of obliterate the enemy cavalry, because we've given them all anti-large. I could do like a refused flank or something here, but we're just gonna go ahead and move our units up. Our 2 longer range units are going to start shooting right away. We'll have our dire wolves go after these enemies, and then we'll move our infantry into combats here. And then as the feral hounds approach, I'm going to swap my units to attacking them, because we do double damage with our range units to enemy large units. These guys are large, and so we should be just flattening the feral hounds right away. My dire wolves are actually losing units against the enemy archers, which is kind of funny. But some range support should fix that. We're also... Oh, right. I put these guys against an uncommon unit. So I need to back out my Rift Pick Laborers here. And actually make my ranged units attack the Death Haven Fiends. The Death Haven Fiends have really good damage output, so... I should have been focusing my ranged damage on them. But still, I would say this campaign is going pretty well so far. I found there was a pretty significant difficulty jump even on the lowest setting once we get into Act 2. So here we will take our money, we'll take our minor health potion. I'll recruit a unit, and again, it's a common unit. But let's get another crossbow, and then again, we can prestige those into... an upgraded crossbow once I need to. And here, I could get towns of smaller garrisons. Interesting. So I would have to sell one of my relics to pick up another one, because I only have 3 slots. But let's just recruit some enemies. We'll take some Bone Shard archers here. So we've got these Bone Shard archers. I'm going to go... fight the Sanguine Court, I think, in their castle. We'll check the garrison. If it looks really difficult to fight, then we won't. This honestly doesn't look so bad. We'll definitely take some casualties. I could also have my Bone Shard archers... Oh no, because if we fight the garrison, reserves don't heal. When you do a battle, units in reserve will heal, but when you're fighting in a town, they don't. But what I will do is use my potion here to heal those guys to full. These guys I don't need to heal, because when we combine them, they're going to heal to full anyways. I'm also going to reorder my units here a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and do battle. Alright. The auto-resolve thinking that we'll win is definitely a good sign for us. So once again, I just want to be where the enemy archers aren't, and we want to kind of just bum rush the gate, basically. Definitely going to lose some Rift Pick laborers. Oh, the gate is actually shooting at my dire wolves right now, so I'm going to move those up and around because I don't want to lose too many dire wolves. It does look like the archers, the gates don't count as large for our archers, but we are able to at least damage the gates with our archers. Also, having all our units stacked like this is probably reducing their effectiveness in terms of how much damage they deal, but I'm not too worried about that. What I really need to do is just focus damage on the non-shielded enemies. And we'll let our Rift Pick laborers in here sort of tank. They will, interesting that they will waste ammo on fleeing enemies. Unless this shows up on higher difficulties, fleeing enemies don't matter. It is very possible that on higher difficulties, you need to care about fleeing targets. Alright, just trying to kill these Death Haven fiends with our archer units, since of course they are not shielded. These guys are, and also the undead levies are just a common infantry unit, so not a big deal. And then we'll move our infantry up. I'm going to move my dire wolves in as well. Should have had those advancing a little earlier. Our Rift Pick laborers definitely taking some damage from the enemy archers. But as long as I can stay out of the gate range, we should be okay. And start moving my crossbows to where we can get a better firing arc, actually. Now, the enemy spear unit does have anti-large, so charging my dire wolves into it is pretty dangerous, but we're just going to get a quick flanking charge on the bone shard archers to break their morale, and that should save us any more casualties. Pip, go birds. Alright, and then we get to enter the town, and we can take our 9 gold, nice, loot some gear, and we'll see if we want to replace one of our... each gold spent on modifying rolls gives +2 to the dice value. I think I like what I've got right now more than that. I don't really know when we're going to be rolling modifying rolls here. We can conscript survivors, and do I want a cavalry unit? So I can take these knight riders, kind of a skeleton knight. Or I can take another bone shard archers, and then if I get another one after that, I can upgrade them. I don't need more spear units. I think that what we need right now is actually the cavalry, though, so I'm going to pick up the Knight Riders. It is kind of interesting that when you're playing the dwarves in Warhammer Tabletop and in Warhammer Total War, not having good cavalry is one of the weaknesses of the dwarves, but in this game you can pick that up from other factions. Alright, we got an event. Roll a die. Okay, so this is when we're rolling dice. Roll a die to determine the outcome. Meet the roll requirement for success, fall short for failure. The Stranded Knight. A knight in shining armor approaches your camp, his horse panting in exhaustion. He explains that he was separated from his company and is in need of assistance. So I can offer assistance. 8+, we get a new unit and gold. And if we fail, nothing happens. We can turn him away. If we succeed, we get gold. We fail, we lose unit health. We can demand payment up front. If we succeed, we get new unit and gold, and if we fail, we get gold, but the difficulty is higher. Let's just offer assistance here. 8+ on a 20-sided die, we get a unit. Pretty happy with that. And we did succeed. Oh, and we can modify the slider. Okay, I get how that artifact works now, but we can just spend money to do it anyways. So we got a crackshot crossbow unit, another one. And we got 8 gold. And let's continue. I'm going to move my wolves here into reserve, and then we'll go to a question mark and Tavern games. I can wager some money. I can buy a round to heal my units. Is there a way to see the map? I kind of want to check the node that I'm doing next. It doesn't look like there's a way to see the map from within one of these events. I think I will spend 5 on just healing my units a little bit. Because I might want to take a fight in the Gruntkin city here. I could also go to the Sakura Dynasty city and maybe recruit a unit, which could be pretty powerful as well. But let's go ahead and see if we can keep raiding some towns. So their garrison has 2 Stonehewer Giants, which we could recruit one of if we defeat them. Orc Stalkers, Orc Impalers, Orc Ravagers. This is a pretty tough fight for us, but we do have bonuses against the Gruntkin. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine my crossbows so we can have all of our units in the combat here. Now we have a tier 2 crossbow unit, which got extra damage, I think. And then I'm going to go ahead and fight the garrison. We have anti-large on all our ranged units, so that should be good against the giants. Also, I've never attacked one of these cities, and I'm just curious how dangerous they are. Goblin scrap shooters. Okay, we're in fog as well. I guess I want to attack from the right here, since there's only one ranged unit. Still, I'm not sure if the enemy units can shoot over the walls here. I also like, if you zoom out, you can see that we are playing like tabletop war games in a tavern. It's a fun conceit for a game. I'm going to tank on the dire wolves. These are probably not a long-term unit for our army, so I'll take some damage on them, and I think that's fine. This does have... It doesn't look like the enemy are shooting over the walls. Oh, no, they are. Okay, for sure. Let's have our dire wolves back off. And then I'm going to have my range units shoot the giant here. And our infantry is going to kind of block things up. Range units shoot... No, the giant. Let me click on it. There we go. Okay, yeah, we are getting good damage on the giant, though it is doing a bunch of damage to my Rift Pick laborers here. But basically, since these enemies are large, our anti-large shooting is just really powerful against the most dangerous thing in the enemy army. So I felt pretty good about this fight. Wasting ammo on these enemies I may actually not want to do. I'm going to kind of back out. Wait, no, you need to stay in this fight. But our infantry is going to block the walls there, and then my archers need to start shooting at their archers, I think. These guys, the fog halving our range is making it really difficult to actually get into these combats. So we're kind of just blobbing our units on top of each other, which is not typically what you want to do strategically. But I'm moving my units so that we can get slightly better shooting. And now we can get on top of the enemy archers here. And I'll also try to work my Knight Riders around the flank if possible. which I was able to do, and then once I flank charge these goblin scrap shooters, that should be the end of the Gruntkin army here. And there we go. Okay, we defeated a city. Kind of cheesed through the side door there, but that is the best way to do it, of course. And let's go ahead and enter town. We get 16 gold. We get to loot some gear. Maybe we get even higher level gear. No, still common gear. No longer lose health from events. I think let's go ahead and leave without gear here. And then we'll conscript some survivors. And we do have the option of taking a Stonehewer Giant. Well, I love the idea of having a giant with us, so let's grab that. He also starts at full health, which is kind of nice. And then I could deposit some money, but I'm not going to worry about the meta progression in this run. And then it's on to the boss fight. Now, do I want to keep my wolves in reserve? I think I will. If a unit loses all its models, it does die permanently. You lose that unit, so you do need to be a little careful. I could also use my healing potion as well. Alright, so we're up against the undead. It does look like there are some themed bonuses here. This is a pretty tough fight. Corpse Claws, some large melee monstrous units. They have the Bloodsworn Armored Stalwart Infantry. The Shade Lords, very dangerous infantry unit. We're going to probably try to kill those with our ranged units. They have some cavalry. A lot of large units, which should be good for our archers, at least. Our archers should feast in this one. I could use my health potion here, but I think we're fine if we just go into the fight like this. They don't have city walls for this battle, so we're in better shape there. Let's roll for initiative. +5 melee defense for player units. I would love to fight in the aura of that thing. Now the enemy is going to deploy second. So let's move our units here. I'm going to put my giant in the center and the damaged laborer unit in the center. And then we'll have our ranged units and our cavalry on the flank. So, what do I need to look at? The mist race. It is okay. I don't like that it doesn't. Is there a way to lock the formation? Because it keeps moving my units into a different order, like they'll reorder themselves, which I really dislike. I want them to stay in the order that I put them in, because when I moved all my units up, they sort of automatically moved to the side. Alright, let's have our archers take out these Bloodsworn infantry. And then I'm going to switch the Bone Shard archers onto the enemy Knight Riders here, since those are large units. There's also the Corpse Claws in there, and I'm going to kind of kite them back with my cavalry. Can I have all my archers just take out the enemy cav here? That seems pretty good, and then we'll charge, and then I'll work my cavalry around the flank. There's some enemy, the Corpse Claws are right in there, so I'm going to swap to attacking them, move my cavalry around. I need to stop putting my Crag Flayers, these guys, in Group 2 as well. Oh, their Knight Riders actually aren't gone. That's funny. And let's have our crossbows shoot those guys. My Crag Flayers seem to be winning fine against the Feral Hounds here. We got a flank charge with our cav, and then we'll work it through the center here. We also have our giant just doing good damage down the middle. And we're killing their rare and elite units. Kind of a sloppy fight by me, but we should be okay. And then there's these Shade Lords, which are the enemy legendary unit, which we're going to get a good surround on. We'll back off our Rift Pick Laborers, and then my ranged units I'm going to back off as well. And then we'll cycle charge with our cavalry to make sure we're getting the charge bonus on them. But there we go. We broke the enemy Shade Lords. Really sounds like an AIM screen name. Shade Lord. And we got 12 dire wolves back, even though we took a bunch of other casualties. And then let's go ahead and claim reward. So we get our money. We get the Fate Shine Elixir. Guarantees the next dice roll to be a 20. We get to recruit an uncommon unit. So let's go ahead and do that. Drakefire Riflers. So this is a gunpowder unit. We could get another Cragflayer unit. Or we could get Grimfire Guns, which is an artillery unit. Seems like it is a cannon of some kind. I think, given that our range units have anti-large, getting the Riflers is just so powerful. So I'm just going to pick up another ranged unit here. And then I will conscript the enemy survivors. There's a chance we roll the legendary Shade Lord unit and can pick those up. We didn't get them, but I'll take a second Knight Rider unit. Then I don't really need the Corpse Claws, I don't think. We already have the Stone Hewer Giant filling the kind of crushing enemy infantry as a big terrifying unit role. And this way, if I get another Knight Rider unit, I can combine to a tier 2. And there we go. That's Act 1 in the books. So you can see why I like this game so much. It just combines a lot of my favorite genres in a way that I think is just really fun. And jumping in for Act 2. So let's go ahead and we'll go to this campfire. So I can heal all my units. I could prestige a random unit, which if I'm going to prestige these 3, I should do that before I hit the random prestige button. I could get gear, but we already have full gear, or I could reveal all future question mark paths and gain a consumable of any rarity. But let's go ahead and we'll prestige these guys. So now I need more infantry, because I basically have no infantry in this army composition, but we'll be able to get there. And then I'm going to prestige a random unit here. And we hit our crossbows. So now if I get a third tier 2 crossbow unit, I can get a tier 3 crossbow unit. Units can go up to tier 3. Alright, so I could be going against... I could go into the forest. There's an Iron Legion village here and another one over there. And I'm okay recruiting from either of those villages. I've been attacking every town so far, but we may want to actually recruit at some point. I don't really need 2 campsites in a row. Let's just go down the middle here, and we'll kind of make our decision after that. Alright, so we're up against the Sakura Dynasty, and they have Kitsune Blade Masters, Emperor's Arquebusiers, and Banryu Bombardiers, as well as 3 sets of Kunoichi Infiltrators, which are flanking units, so they'll appear behind us. I'm going to put these Knight Riders in reserve so that they can heal up. Everything else still has a reasonable amount of health. So let's go ahead and fight this battle. So the enemy, I think, are going to spawn units behind us, so we need to be aware of that. Let's go ahead and I'm going to move my roll for initiative here. All right, we deploy second, so we can hit continue, and we don't know... Yeah, they haven't deployed their infiltrator units yet. But we can deploy our cavalry on the flanks, and I definitely want to get on top of the enemy artillery quickly. And then I'm going to have my my archers, actually, I'm going to have kind of backed up here. So that when the enemy deploys behind us, we can start shooting them. Our giant is going to come this way, and then we'll have this guy go this way. We're definitely going to take some casualties on our ranged units here. Let's get... I needed to move my dire wolves in to fight those guys a little faster. The Kunoichi infiltrators are doing pretty well there. Let's have our one Rift Pick Laborer unit go meet the Blade Master unit. And we're starting to take some pretty significant damage on our crossbows, but all of our infantry should be able to take this stuff out. We did at least obliterate their artillery here. Also, I got very lazy with my hotkeying because I was like, I'll just click, and then immediately forgot that I hadn't hotkeyed anything. Wow, these Arquebus units are kind of mashing us in melee. Yeah, they just wiped out my Direwolf unit. I actually need to just, like, run my mobility away. We took so much damage on the Knight Riders here, because these Arquebus units are so dangerous. I'm going to try to get them into the tree. Alright, we got our units in melee, but wow, we got rolled by the Sakura dynasty here. Also very bad play by me, but I wasn't expecting these Emperor's Arquebusiers to be so dangerous in melee there. That they just completely flattened our Direwolves. We still have those units, but we took a lot of casualties on our mobility here. Alright, let's go ahead and we'll take our money here. We get the Fate Shine Elixir, which I already have one. I guess I'll use the Minor Health Potion now on the Knight Riders. And we'll take the Elixir, and then I can recruit a green unit here. Okay, so I need another infantry unit. I would love to take a second Drakefire Rifler, because I would like to, you know, upgrade those, and more ranged firepower is great for what we're doing here. We need another infantry unit, so we're going to take the Helmwall Defenders. And then, hopefully we get the Arquebus units. We didn't, so I could take an artillery, I could take the cannon, I could take the infiltrator. But we got a rare option. It's an infantry unit, which we need, so we're going to take the Kitsune Blade Masters here. And then on to the next battle. And we'll go up the middle, because it gives me a choice of 3. So here we are once again against... Okay, so it is... I think it definitely is. You fight the same enemy in every skirmish in a given act. So let's go ahead and we'll move our units like so. I think these two in reserve is fine. They only have the one artillery unit for ranged units, so I only really need one mobility piece. That means I can leave these guys in reserve. Basically, these Knight Riders can get on the Huacha, and that will be fine. And then these guys can heal. And let's go into the fight. Alright, so they still have an infiltrator unit, which I guess I could have had... let me actually hotkey my units this time. I guess I could have had the... second Knight Rider unit to go after their infiltrators, but I think we can just turn all of our archers on it. And yeah, we'll just have all of our archers go after these guys. I need to start just putting the Crag players in Group 1, actually.
Let's give 'em hell.
So I want you against the Foot Samurai. I want you guys in defensive stance where you take less damage, and you're gonna go against those guys. You'll go there, and you're gonna go against the Huacha. And then our ranged units took all that stuff out. The Foot Samurai are... No, I want to kill the Naginata units, because they're a rare unit. My Giant's doing well. Unfortunately, my cavalry are really slowed by the rain. So that's what's preventing us from getting on the enemy artillery quickly. Doesn't matter if the Giant takes damage, because it just heals up at the end of the fight anyways. Oh, wow. that artillery shot was kind of brutal. Once we have killed the Naginata unit, we can probably start shooting these foot samurai. And then our cavalry finally made it onto the Hwacha. Meanwhile, our Crag Flayers and Giant are doing okay here, but I'm going to back the Crag Flayers off a little bit. The Helm Wall Defenders were very stalwart, as promised. As you would imagine from that type of unit, and then we'll have you shoot the Hokusho, and everybody else can collapse in. Also, our Drakefire Riflers having armor piercing. Pretty good against the enemy armored units, even though they weren't doing well because of the rain. I need to look more at the terrain effects of these battles as well. But we got some good healing here, and we can take a reward. I'm going to go ahead and sell one of these Fate Shine Elixirs. We'll take our health potion. We'll recruit a unit here, and let's get... So I could get a second Crag Flayer, a second Rifler, or a Grimfire gun. Let's get a second Rifler here. And then I'll be able to combine those up, maybe. I'm going to then take this, because we could get some rare units. We could get these Hokusho. So these are an armored stalwart infantry piece. That's exactly what I need. I'm going to kick the Direwolves out of my army here, and we'll take the Hokusho. These are going to be a little harder to upgrade, but I'm very happy to get some good infantry pieces. And then we'll go ahead and put the Blade Masters into our current setup. And we've got another infantry unit. I don't really care about... I don't want any Iron Legion units, so I don't need to go to these villages, and we don't need to heal or anything. So I think I'm just going to go to another combat with this river. Then I'll go to that shop, because I haven't actually been able to buy anything at the shop, and I do want to try that. Alright, so we've got Dragon Tachi, melee cavalry, Hoshus, which we can take on, and one artillery piece. So again, I only really need the one mobility piece, so we'll leave our Knight Riders in reserve. Yeah, this looks fine. I could try to heal one of my archer units, but I think let's just go into this combat here. Still coming right for me with that tooltip. Alright, so there's a river, but the river isn't actually changing the map mobility that much. And then here we've got Group 1. Basically, I'm going to move my cav to the flank, and everything else is just going to kind of move up the middle. They don't have infiltrators this time. Have to work around... Man, they flattened those Blade Masters. Also, let's get these guys in... into melee and in defensive stance, and then I'll have all of my archery units, my range units, shooting their large armored units where possible. My Giant can tank, because the Giant... It only matters if you lose a unit. If you lose a model, the Giant just heals up all the damage it's taken, so... As long as I don't actually lose the Giant, we should be okay. Now, I did have the Giant in combat with some anti-large enemies, but I'm just going to back it out and finish those off with the ranged units. And the Giant can come back in. We rear charged these Hokoshu. My Rift Pick Laborers are fighting them right now, and then we should be able to finish off the enemies here. Very clean fight, I would say. Alright, let's go ahead and claim rewards. We'll claim a bounty. We get some Lamb sauce creates a signature unit for my hero. Okay, so this is going to give me a legendary unit. Amazing. So let's go ahead and use this health potion, and I'm going to use it to heal my Blade Masters here. We'll take the lamb sauce. I might need to do some combinations, or we might need to dismiss something. We'll figure that out. Let's see what we got. All right, I was hoping to roll a third Drakefire Rifler so that we could combine, and then I wouldn't have to dismiss anything. Which units do I not care about here? So I've got... Honestly, the Crag Flayers are fine, but they've been doing okay. They have 200 kills, which is not bad. I could take an artillery piece. I really wanted to roll another Drakefire Rifler here. I think I'm going to get rid of the Bone Shard Archers, and I'll take a second Helmwall Defender. We're a little over-indexed into ranged units right now. Enron Accounting. Each gold spent on modifying rolls gives +2 to the dice value. Okay, and then we can take potentially a rare unit here. So I can get a Dragon Tachi unit. If I want to, I could dismiss one of my Knight Rider units and upgrade them to a rare cavalry unit. That seems fine. We're going to go ahead and disband one of these, because we no longer have easy access to undead fights, so we're not going to be able to upgrade those anyways. So let's get a more powerful ranged unit. Then I'm going to go to this question mark room and then one of the shops, I think. We can delay our shop for one more turn, get a little bit more interest before we have to spend. I also have this lamb sauce unit, or lamb sauce thing, which is going to make me a signature unit, but I will need a slot for that, of course. So let's go here, and we'll see what we get next.
How can I help you?
All right, well, we hit a shop anyways. So I can get a signature unit. I could get 2 signature units. I could buy both of these potions, create 3 signature units, and combine them, because I would be able to duplicate a signature unit, make 3 of them, and combine them. That is pretty powerful, a pretty tempting option. What would I dismiss? I need to make some space. So right now I have these Hakoshu, who are melee stalwart. I have Helmwall Defenders. I would love to upgrade the Helmwall Defender. The Crag Flayers have been doing okay. The Riftpick Laborers have been doing okay, but I think it might be time to get rid of my common units. This is where, obviously, I don't know exactly how to make the game, how you're best supposed to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and dismiss this. I think I'll also dismiss my Knight Rider unit. We've never needed more than 1 cavalry in most of these combats. And then we're going to buy the... we're going to use this lamb sauce. And now we've got an Abyssal Delve Knight infantry unit. Okay, so this is a powerful, armored, armor-piercing, monster-slaying infantry unit. So I probably don't need the Hakoshu. And I would like to upgrade the Helmwall Defenders. Wait, do I actually need to dismiss another? I don't think I do. So let's go ahead and buy this lamb sauce and use it. And then if I buy this and I use it, okay, it won't let me drink it because we don't have space. So I do need to make space for 1 more unit if I want to get a tier 2 Abyssal Delve Knight unit. I could also just remove my Helmwall Defenders and say we're going to be using just Delve Knights as our main army, but I think let's get rid of the Hakoshu here. And then we'll go ahead and duplicate my Delve Knight, and now I've got 3 of those. And then we'll go to the next area. So I could go gambling, I could go to a shop. Unfortunately, hitting a shop right before 2 more shops is pretty bad. And I don't really have the money to want to risk it gambling. So I guess I'll just go to the shop here and then we'll take a fight.
How can I help you?
And we're just going to skip. A prestige potion, kind of a nice option as well. But let's go to this battle. Yep, they once again only have the one... no, they have the Arquebus, so... we're going to have to do this without cavalry, I think, because my Dragon Tachi need to heal. What else needs to heal? My Dragon Fire Riflers need to heal. It is a little awkward moving units in and out of reserve. I have found that as well. And then we're going to go ahead and fight this battle here. And they do have infiltrator units. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of my Abyssal Knights at the back. And I haven't combined these yet, because I think just having 3 of them is pretty good. I'm going to put one of these guys at the back, and I'm going to put one of them kind of on the flank, where we're going to go after the enemy range. And then everything else is going to move up the middle here. And I thought that would happen. And these guys are going to flank around. Group 2 is going to kill the infiltrators. Oh, okay. I need to back my giant off. My giant is getting flattened by the arquebus. Man, those arquebus units are terrifying. The Helmwall defenders also got kind of stomped by the infiltrators there. Let's have my ranged units kill the enemy cavalry. That's what they're good for here. And then we'll try to work our way around towards the enemy artillery, because we have the bonus against enemy cavalry. Yikes. This is, we're losing so many Abyssal Delve Knights here. Also, all my units are clustered. How are my Blade Masters getting dunked by an uncommon unit? I was really expecting them to be doing better. They're both anti-infantry units. Okay, I need to back these guys off because they're taking too much damage, and I'm actually going to lose this unit. Wow, so badly played in this fight by me. I did not realize the arquebus unit was just going to completely annihilate my infantry there. But now I actually can't combine to a tier 2 legendary unit because I lost it. I guess I should have just played my cavalry and not gone for the heal on the cavalry. Obviously still learning this game, of course. Yeah, I'm just going to have my giant just move through and go after the... Hwacha here. But my Blade Masters kind of got dunked. My Helmwall Defenders got a little flattened. And obviously I lost an entire unit of legendary troops, which is pretty bad. Just was not paying attention to how much damage they were taking. Well, we'll see what we got. We get a bounty, a health potion, and we get to recruit a unit here. And sure, we'll take a Helmwall Defenders, then I can upgrade those at least. And I will just do that right away. And I'll conscript some more survivors. Oh, prestige a random unit when sold if I take the Miter. So I could remove the Lucky Horseshoe, which has been good, but I kind of like these other items better. But I think I do want to conscript some survivors. All right, well, now it's our turn to be the arquebus, to use these broken arquebus units. Let's go to the Raven Host City. So we could get some bolt throwers, shield maidens. I don't really need any of this stuff. Let's take the heal, I think. And I could recruit a unit for 20, but I don't really need to do that either. Then I'm going to head to the question mark area. And we've got a skirmish against triple Hwacha. All right, so I definitely need my cavalry in. I'm going to leave the arquebus unit out for now, but we'll keep the Drakefire Riflers in. Can't believe I just threw away my legendary unit still. And then we have this. Let's have you heal, and we'll replace you with this. This looks like a decent setup for this fight. I think, like every fantasy game ever made, the Japan-inspired faction might be broken. Let's go ahead and do this, and then we'll have you guys go up the side. We'll have our infantry here. Sure, you can just be a double layer with the Delve Knights. And then we've got these. They don't have any infiltrators. I'm also going to widen my formation a bit so that the enemy artillery is a little bit less effective. So we're going to do a max width formation. But this time they don't have the arquebus, so we shouldn't just get completely flattened. Get Last Samurai in reverse. They did hit my Crag Flayers pretty hard there, but no, not... Okay, I did not tell them to go into the infantry. I told them to go at the artillery. A lot of anti-large enemies as well, so my giant is a little dangerous. My cavalry... Or is a little in danger. My cavalry's a little in danger. I see. They're just getting caught up because as soon as an enemy gets too close, they want to join combat. So I need to actually actively micro my cavalry away from the enemies here. We took out one artillery piece. We've got our Crag Flayers shooting. I need to back my giant off because there's a lot of anti-large enemies here. And let's kill the armor-piercing enemies that aren't shielded. We'll have you get in. These Drakefire Riflers have really short range, which is interesting for a ranged unit. And we're just setting up flanking attacks and letting our units shoot. Because our ranged units don't have friendly fire, we can just have them fire straight into the middle of the enemies here. So it's good to be aware that the unit AI will try to jump into combat when they get a little too close to enemies, and you need to be careful of that. I lost a bunch of Crag Flayers, but no other casualties taken, and against a bunch of enemy artillery. We're pretty happy with that. Okay, Alchemist Potion, instantly gain 5 gold. I could use my health potion. I could sell my Fate Shine elixir. Prevents rain from falling on the battlefield. Interesting. That's a cool artifact. I don't really need it here. Let's start by recruiting a unit. We'll figure out the rest. Okay, I can now get a rifle upgrade. And then I can conscript survivors. I got rid of my Hakoshu, right? But an artillery piece, I think, would add another dimension to our combat here. And then I'm going to actually just use my health potion so that I can keep my artillery piece in, and then we can pick up the alchemist potion. Might as well just use that right away, get our money, and then we'll go ahead and take another fight. I want the fight in the open ground because I now have some artillery. Enemy has artillery, and they have the arquebus as well. And I can bring my arquebus unit in. Anything else that I want to put you guys in reserve. We'll keep the artillery here. Anti-infantry artillery, so it should be able to take out the arquebus unit pretty well. And the Blade Masters, these are probably next on the chopping block, because they were really underperforming. Let's go ahead and go into the fight. Mobility is typically key for abusing the AI in this type of game, so probably you should be playing a more cavalry heavy battle style than we're doing right now. Alright, so... Oh, I see, because there's the Kunoichi infiltrators at the back here. So all my units are facing the other way. Hopefully our cavalry can take them out. 0 damage on the charge there from our cav. Then I actually want you guys to do this. Our cavalry somehow just didn't hit those Kunoichi. The Stonehewer Giant, I kind of have to back off. Let's put these in defense mode, and then we'll have you hit them, you hit them. Alright, our cavalry are now doing a better job. And my artillery is at least picking away at the arquebus. We didn't lose our giant, which we were kind of in danger of doing again. And then I'll have my ranged units kill the enemy cavalry, because with anti-large, it's very easy to do that. Our Delve Knights are continuing to kind of get stomped here. Hiding our units in the back so we don't take too many casualties. I want to get these Delve Knights out of range, actually. These ones can go get in melee. I don't want to lose another legendary unit to the arquebus unit. I think it's going to happen, though. These guys are crazy. Wow. Alright, well that's embarrassing, but I didn't expect that they would be able to, through artillery fire and not even focusing on them, really, just kill these guys to the last. I will say also, the Abyssal Delve Knights have been a pretty big disappointment. They just have not been winning their fights that much. Really, it's been our range units that have been carrying us. Although we did just get a duplicate unit potion, so I could have upgraded my Delve Knights if I hadn't thrown one away. Let's go ahead and recruit here, and I will pick up another artillery piece, I think. And I'll do a conscription, and yeah, let's get more arquebuses. I think upgrading the arquebus is going to be the way to go, getting a tier 3 arquebus unit. I'm probably going to get rid of my frag flayers or the blade masters. The blade masters are pretty bad. So let's go ahead and just get rid of these guys. And then I'm going to use my duplicate potion on the arquebus. I'm not going to combine them yet, I don't think, but I do just want another arquebus unit available. And the Drakefire riflers, I also haven't been super impressed by, just because they're so short range. I would rather fight in the forest, I think. Triple Huacha, Hokoshu, and another arquebus unit, so we're -1 Delve Knight again. If I let that happen. Let's try not to do that this time. Alright, so we've got... Well, we need to roll for initiative. Deploy second. So we have our artillery pieces, we have our cavalry, we have our ranged units, and we have our melee corps. And the melee units I'm going to keep in the forest, I think. Because actually having my ranged units like this has not been that big a deal. And then we'll have our cavalry along the outside, and our artillery pieces in the middle. Because they don't have infiltrators this time. So let's have our artillery shoot the arquebus, and we'll move our... our melee units up through the forest. And we're going to take some damage on our ranged units here to the enemy artillery, but this way we've actually managed to chip away at the enemy arquebuses with our... Can I shift Q? I'm not sure if that worked or not. Okay, there's infiltrators here. We'll have our infantry go kill those guys. Okay, it does look like we can, in fact, shift Q. So that's pretty nice. And our Stonehewer Giant is getting kind of flattened again by the Arquebus unit, so I need to move it away if I can. It's not moving, so I'm going to have to tie these in melee so that we don't lose our Stonehewer.
We are in peril. To all who oppose us.
Loud and clear.
Every time we fight one of those Arquebuses, they do so much damage. I mean, they're shooting they're armor piercing and they're shooting unshielded infantry, so they should be doing well, but the amount of damage that they're doing just feels incredible. We'll take the money here. Another duplicate unit potion, so I can get more arquebuses if I want to. We can recruit another one of these. I could get a second Grimfire gun, a second Cragflayer, a Drakefire Rifler. Let's go ahead and combine these so that I can fit more units into my setup here. The Grimfire gun, I wasn't that impressed with it. It was okay, but the Hwacha does seem to be doing a little better. But let's take another one because I might be able to just upgrade it at some point, and then I'll do a conscription here. And if I get a Hwacha, I can duplicate it and get a tier 2 Hwacha as well. And then we're on to the boss fight. Most likely. Okay, so the Golden Saru, a melee monstrous creature. And we have a couple cavalry units, a Hwacha, but no Arquebus. So we're safe from the terror of the Arquebus. And we have an Arquebus of our own. So we should be in good shape there. What units do I want in the fight? I want I think I want my 2 damaged units out and the Cragflayers out. And we'll just keep all our full health stuff in. Excuse me. Didn't mute in time to save you from the almighty dad sneeze. Alright. I need to get better about reordering my units during the campaign phase as well. So we deploy second here. Do they have infiltrators? They don't. So we're going to take our cavalry. Our 1 cavalry unit is going to go around the right-hand side here. Our 2 artillery pieces and our ranged units are kind of straight up the middle. And we're just going to have our infantry block this river crossing. And let's have... Yeah, I think just shooting with our artillery is fine. And we'll have our ranged units kill this legendary enemy, which, because all our ranged units have anti-large thanks to our artifact, we should be pretty good at doing that. And then we'll take that out, and then you can go there and there. The Dragon Tachi have really good armor. Even when faced with all this anti-large shooting, they're doing really well. It is nice that our units just immediately re-aggro. If you've played Warhammer Total War, you know that the units just constantly need new orders, or they just stop doing stuff, and will constantly drop orders and everything. This game just your units just snap to the next enemy right away. So I really appreciate that. Removes a big frustration of playing Warhammer Total War. All right, well, they didn't have an Arquebus unit, so we were safe. And we made it through. I would love to get a gold tier unit at some point as well. Let's go ahead, like a tier 3 unit. we'll take our bounty here. We get a rewind potion. I would rather have the Fate Shine Elixir, so I'm not going to take the rewind potion. I get to pick up a rare unit. All right, so what do I actually want? I think we're speccing out of the Crag Flayers here. So I'm going to disband that unit. I'm going to duplicate the Hwacha so that I can just get a silver Hwacha. Then we're going to recruit a purple unit here. A Stormforged Battery. Grimazul Ancients. Or Thunderhoof Chargers. Okay, so we do actually have cavalry units. I think I do want... I think, just want another cavalry unit. Because having only the one Dragon Tachi hasn't been quite enough. And let's go ahead and take our rewind potion. And we'll pick up the Conscript Survivors. Okay, well, I didn't need to copy the Hwacha because I rolled one, but I'll take a Tachi. Another cavalry unit. And that's Act 2 complete. I think our army is coming together pretty well. We have a really powerful ranged core, very good artillery pieces, and good just ranged damage. And our infantry and melee core is definitely a lot worse, but all we really need those to do is stall while our other units are just taking everything out. I probably need to get rid of these Drakefire Riflers at some point, though. They're so short-ranged, and honestly, their damage isn't even that amazing. The crossbows, they do 28 weapon strength. Yeah, these guys have 28 weapon strength, and... Or no, 12 missile strength. These guys also have 12 missile strength. Yeah, the Drakefire Riflers, I feel like, they have armor piercing is the big difference. But they also have 60 range compared to 70. These guys have 110. So, honestly, even silvered, these are not that exciting. Their accuracy is worse. I think the Drakefire Riflers are just very bad, actually. And jumping in for Act 3, let's go to the campsite. I'm probably prestiging a random unit. Is there anything that I want to get rid of? Because I don't want it to prestige. Of course, what I want is for the prestige to go on one of the silver units, ideally, and then they go straight to gold. But if I'm planning to cut any of these units for sure, then I should get rid of them. And I think I am going to cut the Drakefire Riflers. I just have not been finding those good. So I'm going to disband them, even though they could turn gold. Just because I don't want to prestige a random one. And yeah, let's hit them. Okay, well, we got our silver Delve Knights, even though I threw away so many Delve Knights. Would have loved a gold tier unit, but that's fine. And we'll put the other artillery piece in, I think. No, I should probably just put in another cavalry. And let's go to... We'll find out what faction we're fighting against this time as well. We could do an event. I haven't done that many events. And then we could go to one of our villages and hire some units. That could be kind of fun. Let's go over along the river because we're very heavily spec'd into range units, so we don't want to fight in fog. And we're up against, it looks like the elves. They've got treants, they have artillery pieces, an elite spear unit, another spear unit, and these large treants. Okay, looks like a fun fight. I like what I have set aside. Do I want to try to heal my arquebus unit or anything? I could put my crossbows in reserve. I think we're okay here. We're going to be going to the Deepstone Hold village, and we'll probably heal there anyways. I wouldn't mind... I don't mind the roll for initiative mechanic. I actually like it quite a bit, but I wouldn't mind a way to set to just, automatically roll for initiative and not have to click through it every time. Because it does kind of delay the start of these fights a little bit. You know what, let's just add this to group 3, though I will have them go up the side here, and then we'll have these two in group 4. And we've just got our 3 ranged units here. So our ranged units are kind of going to set up in the side. We've got our cavalry, and we have our artillery down the middle.
As you say. As you say.
I want my artillery to be shooting probably the Sunspire Blade Lords. And then our cavalry will just get their artillery. Alright, cool. So, artillery, have our cavalry move up, and our infantry is going to be taking out the treants, because those are large. Alright, enemy artillery, definitely a little on the scary side. Oh, I should also be using shift queuing just to move around. We'll have you guys go into the spear unit, and you guys go in here. And our ranged units are going to shoot all the treants. I should also have my infantry in defensive stance, of course. Alright, my Abyssal Delve Knights are doing a good job now. We will get some friendly fire by shooting the Alarian Sentinels with our artillery here, but just taking those out quickly I think is important, and now I can stop friendly firing. Lost a few more infantry units than I'd have liked in this combat. The Helmwall Defenders got a little bit damaged there. I was hoping just for more like armored shielded infantry to appear in this act, and when we're fighting the elves, I don't think that's likely to be something we can easily conscript, but we should be able to find them anyways. Alright, let's go ahead and sell the rewind potion to take the health potion. Definitely prefer that. We'll recruit a green unit here, and I can get a Grimfire gun, and that'll let me upgrade my Grimfire guns. And I will still recruit a unit. Alarian Sentinels, how do these compare, or the Sunspire Blade Lords, how do they compare to our current infantry? So we've got, with our Helmwall Defenders, our melee defense is a lot better. Our armor is a lot lower, actually. The Helmwall Defenders not as armored as I would have thought. I guess I don't care about... I don't need an anti-large unit, because our ranged units just flatten large units. So let's take the Sunspire Blade Lords here, and we'll just go ahead and combine our cannon. I'm going to move those into reserve, and we'll put the cannon in play. And I'll probably have to reserve one of my ranged units. I actually need one more, like, ranged unit, I think, as well. We'll go do the event, and we'll see what we've got. Okay, Chapter 3, A Troubling Dream. One of your mercenaries recounts a disturbing dream of a great beast stalking the camp. The air feels heavy with tension. Ignore plus unit health, 4+, we get unit health. So why would I choose the more difficult role if it's just unit health? Maybe it's more unit health, but we're going to take double the watch. We can prestige a unit on a 6+. I could use the Fate Shine Elixir. This is a fair... I mean, we're not going to take too many more events. Let's just use our Elixir. And we'll take double the watch, and we'll prestige a unit. We get a natural 20 here. And our Dragon Tachi got prestiged. So one of our cavalry units got prestiged. That's great. And all our units got health. I don't know if that was like a bonus effect because it was a critical, because we rolled a 20, but we probably could have just spent a little bit of money for the same effect. That would have been really nice. Let's go to the Deepstone Hold, and we'll see what we can recruit here. I'm going to go ahead and enter town. It would feel bad to attack our buddies. I'm looking for a ranged unit, so I'll recruit a unit here. And I will just take a crackshot crossbow unit. I could keep going. We get unlimited recruitment if you are the same race as the town. So I could try for 2 more crossbows. I would need to dismiss a unit here, but we can probably dismiss the second Tachi, because I already have 2 cavalry. And the Thunderhoof Chargers are, I think, a little bit better. 44 attack compared to 40. Same melee defense, 34 weapon strength. A little lower weapon strength, but better armor. Much lower speed on the Thunderhoof Chargers. That's the big difference. But getting I could also get rid of the Stonehewer Giant. It honestly has not been doing that much. And now that I have another infantry unit, we're in slightly better shape there as well. I wish I had more slots to try to upgrade units here. I think I do want to at least do one more recruitment. And okay, I did roll 2 crackshot crossbow units. I think it's time to bid farewell to the giant and say he's served us well, but we just need our infantry to actually block enemy infantry well. And then if I do another recruit, we can get a crossbow, and that will let me silver the crossbow. Then I can upgrade to a gold tier crossbowman. And we'll leave. I don't need to upgrade my crossbowmen yet. We'll just have 3 silver. And let's go here. I did spend a bunch of money right before we have the option of a shop as well. Surprisingly, not that many just archer units in the elven armies that we've fought so far, which is kind of what I was hoping to recruit. Do I want my Blade Lords in play? I do need 2 cavalry units because they have 2 artillery. I think this is a fine setup. Almost everything silver here. I could have upgraded my crossbows, but I'd rather have more ranged units going into this fight, I think. It's funny that the auto-deployment did something this weird.
Can do. Absolutely. As you wish.
And let's put our cavalry along the flanks, and then we've got our 2 infantry units, which are fine. I definitely should have my Sun's Fireblade Lords in the fight, but basically whatever we recruit from here is going to change the way that our thing is set up anyways. So let's go ahead and shoot the Blade Lords with our artillery. And then our cavalry is going to go... Oh, they're actually attacking my cavalry with their bolt throwers. These are anti-large bolt throwers, so they do good damage to cavalry. And then group 2 is just going to flatten the treants. Treants seem to have really nice missile resist or something, because they're not taking any damage from our anti-large shooting. We'll shoot the Mistweaver Scouts here, and then you're going to go get the Star Striders. And Group 2, you're going to shoot the Star Strider Cavalry. Finish off the enemy cav. And I'm going to move my artillery so that it stops committing friendly fire crimes as we shoot down the enemies here. I also like that I've been able to play this whole RTS round with an injured hand. No problems at all, because we have needed very little APM. Okay, nice. We get another signature unit, so we'll get another Delve Knight, which I can then throw away. But we'll take the lamb sauce here. We'll recruit a unit, and anything that I can upgrade. I do want more infantry. I'll take the Helmwall Defenders here. We'll see what we kind of get in addition to that, and we'll conscript survivors. So I could take the Lorandel Star Hurler. This is an anti-large artillery piece. I don't really need that. I could take a second Sunspire Blade Lords and then maybe combine those later on. that would be pretty good. The Thunderhoof Chargers are really slow. Honestly, I wasn't impressed with these guys because they were very slow, so it was hard for them to actually do anything. So I might dismiss those and replace them with a Sunspire Blade Lord, but I think I'm just gonna replace the Helmwall Defenders with a Blade Lord here. And then with 83, I think I can go to the shop. And we'll kind of see what we've got here. So I can get an Alchemist Potion for 5 gold. Alright, we'll sell... spend 4 gold to get 5 is a good deal. Unfortunately, I can't afford a legendary unit, so I won't be able to upgrade that. I could take a rare unit of my faction. I could take an uncommon unit of my faction. Oh, right. I can also... I dismissed there. I did not need to do that. I forgot I could upgrade the Crackshot crossbows to gold. So that was definitely a mistake. I should have just had those guys upgraded. So let's get a rare unit of our faction, because I would love another ranged unit, and maybe there's a gunnery unit available. And we'll just see what we can get here. The Bulwark. These are... They have a 50 range, so they're like a shielded unit with a gun in the offhand. That's cool. Grimazul Ancient's also powerful, but let's take the Bulwark. And that's going to give me a nice ranged unit. So I still at least have 3 ranged units, which I think is important to have. And then I'm going to put I'll put 1 more infantry in play. Oh, I should have done the Alchemist Potion if I was doing that first. And I can still lamb sauce a signature unit if I want that. But let's go to the battle and we'll kind of figure out where we're going from there. Since it looks like we can just do all of this stuff when we enter combat, which is great. Alright, 2 artillery pieces. They also have the Veil Piercers, an elite archer unit. And these guys are also outriders, so they can appear behind us. Interesting. And then they've got some cavalry and treants, and the Sunspire Blade Lords again. Let's move our injured cavalry to reserve, and I'm going to use my health potion on the Delve Knights here. And do I want to make another Delve Knight? We will have currently just the 3 infantry units, 2 cavalry, 3 archers, 3 infantry, and 2 artillery. The enemy infiltrating behind us also makes our artillery a little more vulnerable. But let's just go ahead and fight here, I think. I don't actually really know what upgrading to gold does, but it seems to have given them more range, because I have a green buff. Range and accuracy, which feels pretty good. Range and accuracy has to be good as an upgrade. Alright, so the Veil Piercer infantry are going to be behind us, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my Thunderhoof Chargers in group 5, and those guys are going to sit at the back. And these guys are going to go after the enemy. And then we've got our ranged units, we have our artillery pieces, and we have, which I want to box in with my ranged units. And we have our infantry here. I keep saying infantry. So, the Bulwark. These guys actually might be better in group 1, because I think they're basically infantry. Alright, we'll go take those out. Our archery units are going to shoot their treants, and then we've got these guys jumping in here. Put you in defense mode. Our Thunderhoof Chargers took out their archers, and our archers. Okay, so these guys have like the throwing axes or something. Our Helm Wall defenders definitely taking some pretty substantial damage. I'm still just not impressed with the Abyssal Delve Knights, to be honest. And we'll have our artillery stop firing. Our cavalry are just going to finish off the enemy artillery here. I can't say our signature unit is really performing that well. But an excellent victory, once again. And we'll see what we get to add to our army. Alright, we'll take an alchemist potion and we'll use it. And we'll recruit a green unit here. Do I want any of these? Probably not, but let's take the defenders just in case. We'll see what we get from conscript survivors here. Sunspire Blade Lords, I have 2 already, so I can take those and we get a Silver Blade Lord unit, which I think is pretty good. And then that's exactly why we were doing it that way. Then we're going to go to the Iron Legion Castle. I could fight the Iron Legion. I think I'd rather just heal at this point. And I'm not going to recruit anything. And then we're going to go, because we're basically at the end. I would like to go to the Deepstone Hold City, and we get infinite recruitment opportunities there. What is this? It's an event. All right, we'll do the event because events are fun. And here I'm going to put the Dragon Tachi behind, and we'll have this Dragon Tachi in and this Dragon Tachi in, and the Thunderhoof Chargers are staying out because they have triple artillery piece, and our anti-infantry artillery is good. Yeah, this seems like a totally reasonable setup here. And they have no infiltration units in this one, just triple artillery.
No problem. As you wish.
Okay, I can get them over there. It just took a little bit of effort.
None shall survive.
And then we've got our 2 artillery pieces. And again, we'll put them in the center here. And we have our infantry pieces who are going to move up to block the river. And we have our ranged units.
As you wish.
Which I didn't successfully hotkey. I tried to hit the hotkey button.
Ready for battle. It will be done. Let's give him hell.
So my units are definitely getting a little bit flattened by the enemy artillery here.
Let's give him hell.
My Delve Knights and everything. I'll have our artillery attack those Blade Lords. Our infantry are continuing to shoot the enemy large units with our archers, and our front line is just soaking artillery shots mostly, but that's a totally reasonable thing for it to be doing. Oops, okay. I did a little more friendly fire on my defenders there than I wanted to. Also, I'm going to compare the level 2 to the level 1, because I'm not entirely sure what we get when we upgrade, and knowing how important it is or isn't to upgrade is kind of nice. Okay, nice. We got another signature unit potion. We'll take a recruit here, and we'll pick up a Helm Wall Defenders, because then I could maybe upgrade it, and then I'll go Conscript Survivors. I don't really need any of these. We're not going to be able to get another Blade Lord upgraded all the way. But honestly, the Helm Wall Defenders have been pretty bad. Let's compare them. Okay, they get more melee attack and more melee defense as you upgrade them. So, do I want the Blade Lords over the Defenders? Probably. Let's go ahead and just disband these guys, and we'll take the Blade Lords. I didn't need to disband both, but that's okay. We'll go to the event. Okay. The Gathering of Chieftains. A group of chieftains have gathered to discuss the growing threat of the goblin hordes. They request your presence. Attend as one of them. 13 plus, we get a new unit. Decline the invitation, nothing happens, or we lose gold. Flex my authority, we get a new unit in gold or a new unit. It doesn't, and we need 8 army size to take this one. I mean, it doesn't say what the new unit is. Like, do we get a better new unit here? But let's go flex our authority. And I can modify this roll with gold up to 8 for 4 gold. That just seems worth it. Let's do that. And, okay, well, we got a Rift Pick Laborers, but we got 17 gold. So we got our money back, more than back. The Rift Pick Laborers not so important, though. And then here we are in our own town. So let's go do this. Oh, but I'm short cash to recruit a unit, because I guess it's more expensive to recruit in cities. So I'll just deposit all my gold, because this is the last city before the final fight, and we can get some bonuses in the meta progression. I'm going to dismiss the Rift Pick Laborers, and we'll use our lamb sauce here. And what do I actually want to take into the final fight? I probably am going to need multiple cavalries. We'll see what the enemy has. So they have an Emerald Ancient, the Ilarian Sentinels, the Veil Piercers. I actually don't really need 2 cavalry units. So let's dismiss the Dragon Tachi here, or the Thunderhoof Chargers. And then I can use another one of these and get a signature unit. And then we'll put that in. I do want 1 cavalry to disrupt their Veil Piercers, so we'll keep the silvered Tachi. And then you're going over here. Do I want both artillery pieces? Probably. And we actually ended up with very few ranged units at the end, but I think this is okay. Let's go into the fight. Alright, we're in the forest, but we can set up our units in the forest, which is kind of nice. They have the Veil Piercer unit, so we're going to have you probably sitting at the back to go after the Veil Piercers. And then we've got these 2 ready to fight. We have these 2 to start our bombardments off. And then we have our front line. And I want the Bulwark unit, even though they are a gun unit. I want them up front because they are pretty good in combat. They have 40 melee defense, and we want them shooting because they're short range as well.
We are in peril. Ready for war. Gladly. As you wish.
So we're taking out the Veil Piercers, which did do a ton of damage to my cav. Or that might have been my... And then we'll shoot the dragon here. Whoa, the Arquebus unit just one-shot the dragon. Move you around to compete with the enemy mobility. And then our range units are fighting the anti-large enemies. Or are fighting... Our anti-large range units are fighting the large enemies. We'll shoot the Ilarian Sentinels now that we've taken out the largest enemies. That should be fairly easy, and we've got our infantry taking them out. Our cavalry and the Bulwark doing fine against the enemy cavalry. And we can actually swap our ranged units to attacking those. And we can have our artillery stop shooting. to minimize friendly casualties. Not that it matters, because this is the last fight in the round anyways.
Come get some.
And there we go. So I believe that we have won the run, unless difficulty 2 has an extra fight or something in it. But a very clean final battle. We took out the Emerald Ancient very easily. Fun to see our stats here. So our Abyssal Delve Knights did pretty well there. And let's go ahead, and we've got Act 3 complete. Total victory. New hero unlocked, Bertha Barrelstorm. Also, we get to see... No, we don't get to see our total kills on our units. They should definitely keep that. We should be able to see our unit stats. At the end of the run. But yeah, this game is awesome. I have really been enjoying it. It's not the most like detailed and highly simulated tactics game or anything like that. But it also doesn't require you to have crazy APM. You get to play in real time, or you get to pause it if you want to. And that's always nice in an RTS, very accessible for new players. You don't have to learn any of the logistics or management parts of RTSs. And I like the theming, and I like the fact that it is roguelike. Obviously, I haven't played at the higher difficulty settings, so the balance, I'm not sure about at higher difficulties, but so far, this one looks great. All right, my friends, hope that you enjoyed that run of Tabletop Tavern, and of course, if you have, then feel free to leave a comment and hit the like button. Let me know if you want to see more of this game, because I am going to keep playing it. Whether I'm recording it or not is really up to whether people want to see it. So let me know if you do want to see it. And as always, of course, you can subscribe to my channel for more potentially of this and other strategy game analysis. Cheers, folks. I'll catch you next time.